we get going?
Yeah, it's probably.
Is the music
started?
Well, see, now you just ruined our intro banter. Transition into the show.
We'll cut him out.
That Tucker.
Yeah.
Just don't get it. He has decided to no longer sponsor us, however. I mean, it wasn't him sponsoring us. It was, the company he worked for, Welcome to the Bumble. But he was their local rep, and we heard from him relatively quickly that he no longer wanted to be associated with that sponsorship. So, yeah. All right, well.
Whatever.
I suppose the music is playing us in at this point, so maybe we should get started. I'm Ben.
I'm Justin, the myth-bustin' motherfucker plant.
Okay. And we are the co-founders of Storyboard Media and your sage and wise guides on your journey to enlightenment and video success and excellence.
Video excellence.
Video excellence. Yes. That is what was written. Have an interesting discussion today, busting some myths surrounding video
from my middle name.
No, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
It would be, although I want you for the next week to go around introducing yourself as Justin, the myth-bustin' motherfucker.
Hello, this is Justin, the myth-bustin' motherfucker plant. How can I help you?
None now.
Would you like to play Fisties? Quick.
Fisties, 1, 2, 3, shoot.
What'd you get? You go first.
What? Did you know that most people cycle through in rock, paper, scissors from rock to paper to scissors? So when you're going best out of 3, if you can pay enough attention to what somebody else just threw and think next in that cycle, they're more likely to throw the next thing, rock to paper, paper to scissors, scissors to rock, because it's almost involuntary. So if you can have the presence of mind to think about what they just throw the thing that would beat whatever is next in that line, you're more likely to win Fisties.
Yeah, but you only have 3 seconds to think through all that. I know,
right? That's a lot to process. So we're actually filming the podcast today.
For the first time, trying out some new equipment.
Yep.
We're going to move to a video podcast in a couple weeks.
Yep.
So we're just trying out some new stuff.
Moving offices, getting a little studio. It'll be fun. Okay, so before we jump into busting these video myths, as I mentioned, Tucker no longer wanted to be affiliated with our sponsorship from Welcome to the Bumble. So we've got a new sponsor this week, surprisingly.
New sponsor, yep. Very happy to have them. It's Off Color Lighting.
Off Color Lighting, okay. Look forward to hearing their spot later in the episode. Before we get into our 5.5 myths that we have here, I guess it's worth addressing why we think it's important to add our voices to busting these myths.
I suppose you're right.
Yes. If I were to put that in the form of a question, I would say, why do we feel it's important to...
Well, because we have an opinion on everything.
Well, that is definitely true.
Pertains to video. But it's been a couple years now that businesses have been adopting video, and some have not been adopting it for certain reasons. And we want to encourage the adoption of video, becoming, more of just a part of the culture of a business, and trying to help people get past hurdles that might be more psychological than actual.
Or just based on misinformation or bad information, too. We've talked about some of these before in various episodes just because they come up in the course of conversation. But we've also talked about how, for people new to video, sometimes they just get kind of overwhelmed and it seems too complicated. And so I think sometimes people just look for reasons not to do it. And these are some of the things that, we hear an awful lot.
Change is hard. So allowing these things to become an excuse is where most of the friction actually is.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we jump in?
Sure. Why don't you give us the first one here? So Ben and I, just, I guess, to lay the foundation, Ben and I both wrote our list of various myths, and most of them overlapped. There were a couple that didn't. So I think we'll be agreeing on all of these, but we may just have different thoughts on it.
At least one of them, I think, actually goes 2 different ways. So we may argue, we may agree on one argument and then flip the argument to the other end, but we also both agree on that. So I don't know. I don't like it when we just automatically agree. So maybe we'll try to find a way to be. Maybe we can at least be in violent agreement somewhere along the way. That's always fun. Okay, so myth number 1 that we want to bust, and I think it's also one that earlier on in our careers we kind of adopted.
Yeah.
Is that shorter is always better.
As a 6'5" person, I certainly do not like this myth.
Well, and as a 5'9" person,
And a half.
I don't have the hair
Not
anymore. When I had hair, sure, 5'9.5". In fact, when I went to the doctor last time, the nurse was weighing me in and measuring me in, and she actually said, "I'll give you 5'9".
Ooh.
That stung.
Yeah.
So, if you go to my doctor, solid 5'9".
So much of my identity is wrapped up in being just a little bit better than Tucker. And I was 6'5" at one point. I think I'm 6'4 3/4, but I don't want Tucker to feel like he's catching up or anything.
Right.
So I'm just sticking to it.
Okay. How tall is Tucker?
Just under that. Whatever I am, just under that.
Just beneath you.
Yeah.
Constantly just
Looking
beneath
down
you.
on him.
Okay.
So shorter is better.
So shorter is better. I suppose this is a myth we're busting. So
Why is it a misconception, or why is it a conception?
well, I think it's a conception because of the attention and intention of viewers online. Because most of what we're talking about here is video that's viewed online. And everybody seems to just kind of go to, everybody's got so many channels, so many platforms, so many things in their feed that they're just going to flip through. You can't get anybody's attention for more than 30, 60, 90 seconds, whatever it is.
Yeah, and people cite, like businesses cite that, well, the attention span of a human being is less than a goldfish. I think that's just total bullshit. Look at all this new long form content that is killing it, like Game of Thrones, right?
Well, I saw an
Like
interesting
podcasts.
I saw an interesting headline recently that like movies have gotten too long. And if you look at 8 or 10 episode limited series, HBO, Netflix, wherever, they're essentially 8 or 10 hour long movies.
Right.
That they've just broken up into pieces.
The thing is, you just have to be interesting.
Yeah. Now, I don't know that we're advocating necessarily doing, 8 or 10 hours of content here for a video content for your
price tag.
business. But I think that people who cite this still think of video as something that they're probably doing once also. So that kind of unleashes all of this cascade of problems with that, because if you're going to make one video, that means you're going to speak to all of your audiences.
And this one has to be
you're going to ask them to
perfect.
everything, and it has to be perfect, and it has to look good, and it has to be expensive, and it has to, for new listeners, that is not the way that you should approach video for your business. For old listeners, long-time listeners, that's what we rail against anyway. I mean, it's essentially the foundation of our manifesto. The Video Reformation Manifesto is
Practicing.
is that it's about practicing, and it's about being specific.
Sure.
It's about having a specific purpose. It's about giving specific actions. It's all about specificity and creating multiple pieces of content to speak to different audiences, multiple pieces of content to get people to do different things. So when you think about all of the video you're going to practice, some of it, sure, toward the top of the funnel. If it's going to be a brand awareness piece that's going to be a pre-roll ad, yes, shorter needs to be typically better for pre-roll. If you do some great brand awareness shorter pre-roll stuff, you can start to do some longer pre-roll stuff. Purple, the mattress company, does some really interesting long form pre-roll stuff.
They do,
but they also
10 minutes long.
They also spent about a year developing their brand and putting their brand out there and setting themselves up as a company that has fun with its content. So once you see that it's a 10-minute pre-roll piece, you know that it's probably worth sticking around for the 10 minutes.
It's worth noting that our manifesto says nothing about length of video.
Right.
Because it's not that it's irrelevant, but it's all based on any number of other things. One of my new LinkedIn friends, his name is Matthew Sweezy. He works for Salesforce down in Charleston. He's also got an awesome podcast about marketing, but he's doing a lot of speaking, and one of the things that he's talking about is in 2020, content is going to be very ephemeral, meaning it'll be
Good word.
there and gone in a second, and so you've got to be doing a good amount of video. So trying to put all your chips in one pile is pointless.
That reminds me, Internet Summit, I want to say 2 years ago, I probably still have the photo of the slide somewhere, but one of the presentations actually had kind of the average lifespan of a post on each of the main social platforms. And within 72 hours,
not a chance.
Something that you've posted is not going to be seen by someone new. Unless it is something that has some kind of viral, thing to it that starts getting shares and all those kinds of things. That will affect the algorithm and people will see it from somebody sharing it. But like the average lifespan, the longest lifespan on social channels is like 72 hours. And that's being nice, really. I mean, think about, our Instagram live here. This will be available for 24 hours.
Right.
And then people will have to listen to the podcast edited, or I guess now watch the podcast edited when it's released. And that's another way to multi-purpose content, is to
get more out of one
we're
thing.
live streaming it, and so there's kind of an exposure point there.
Right.
But then we're also going to release it on its regular release schedule
as a podcast.
So that an entirely different audience who may not follow us on Instagram or may not have an hour to watch us in the middle of the day on a Thursday.
We're also going to be releasing it in video format on YouTube.
Yeah.
And we're going to take sections of that and use that on LinkedIn to drive traffic to our podcast.
Yep. And this is not short. So if anything, this is
no.
This is the type of content. I think it's worth talking about content throughout the funnel also. Because when you think about practicing effective video for business, you've got your top of funnel, your mid funnel, your bottom of funnel. Your purpose and your audience changes as you go down that funnel or through that flywheel or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Right?
So what do you mean your audience changes? I think I know what you mean.
So top of funnel is a very broad audience, right? It's your prospects. It's people who may not even know that you're a brand. It's people that you don't even know, and you're trying to get them to identify themselves as, ooh, I'm interested in what it is you do, why you do, whatever, right? Then as you get further down in that process, in that funnel, you're actually, with the content you're creating, typically targeting fewer and fewer people. Because your mid-funnel may be people who have said, hey, I'm interested in what you do. And so by default, that's a smaller sized group, a smaller sized audience than the people who are completely unaware of you and might come across something at the top of the funnel. And then once you get down into the bottom of the funnel, you're talking about people who have been passed off to sales. They've been through a demo. They've been through whatever. And so there's almost then just, of course, it's a smaller subset still, but you're almost sending a video to one person for one reason. Even if it's a mass-produced video, because you have a lot of those people, it's still something that a salesperson is sending, saying, hey, I want you to watch this because we talked about that.
Yep.
And so then, of course, when you get into a Go video or a personalized video that they may be doing to start off that video or to introduce that video, that's then something that is created once for one person, one specific person. So the size of your audience gets smaller as you get closer to the sale and then through the sale.
I was thinking about it even a different way, but still true. As you move down the funnel, especially in the B2B world, more and more people are being introduced to that particular sale. So you may have your marketing manager starting at the looking for solutions and then whittling that down.
Consensus building sale kind of thing.
And then so when you get to the bottom of the funnel, it may be one client, but that one client may have 10 people in the decision.
That's interesting.
So you're changing some of your messaging a little bit when you get down to the bottom of the funnel to appeal to senior executives or whatever it is.
Yeah. And so the way that kind of helps bust shorter is always better is that you're having different conversations. You're having more specific conversations. Somebody needs to see an hour-long demo or see a playlist of 6 videos that are of 5 different modules because on your sales call, you as a salesperson identified that these are the things that are going to have the biggest impact for them. Fine.
Yeah.
You're going to make that stuff more specific, that there's going to be that kind of tire kicking mentality or that like, why should I go with this over something else? Or how is this actually going to work once I'm using it? You don't need to put that in the top of the funnel. You don't need to go into that detail. I think detail is a lot too, right? You're talking about like top level bullet points when you're at the top of the funnel. Then you're kind of getting into your like A, B, C secondary bullet points in the middle. And then you're going back to your like small 1, small 2, small 3, like third level bullet points once you're getting into that kind of bottom of the funnel content. And so your messaging is more specific. It takes more time to communicate that. So,
and think about this: if your prospect is looking at 2 or 3 other solutions, think of it as like dating. If you spend more time with that person, they're more likely to end up liking you more.
Yeah.
And so don't just give them 5 seconds to consume. And it's not saying just make it bloated for the sake of bloating it and absorbing their time, but if you can keep them interested for much longer, you're going to have a much better chance.
Can we tie a bow on this? Can we succinctly sum up why shorter is always better is just not true?
I think it's kind of goes back to what I was trying to say in the middle of this point or this conversation was nowhere in the manifesto does it talk about time regulations in practicing effective video. It doesn't. There's no right or wrong necessarily.
Yep.
There's more interesting and less interesting. And so, what choice are you going to make? What's the more interesting choice for your situation? And to be practicing. So don't put all your chips into one video either.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Myth number 2. Video is expensive. Video is too expensive.
Yeah. There are a couple things that you also may have heard. I remember when we started really getting into this about 6-7 years ago.
Happy anniversary, by the way.
Oh, that's right. Happy anniversary.
Today is the 6th anniversary of the official start of Storyboard Media.
And the 1st year anniversary of the manifesto.
Yes. Manifesto is a year old.
David should do something.
David should do something. David, do something about that.
He's gone.
I know, but he wouldn't respond anyway.
He's with his plumber in his shower.
This is true.
That's all he told us before he left.
Yep. It's either that or a job interview somewhere. Yeah. So, I think I interrupted you. You were going to make a point about 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah, 6 or 7 years ago, we were trying to figure out how to price video, and
we're still trying to figure out how to price video.
The people who were in the video world for a while were quoting around $1,000 per minute of edited video.
I actually got that from somebody last year.
Are you serious?
I was talking to someone from my parents' church who I was willing to just give some free advice to because I knew we weren't going to make the video, right? And so, really, really smart guy, very good at what he does, but hasn't done video since probably it was something that was done since pre-DSLR revolution, basically. And, we're 30 minutes into this conversation about what he should look for and who he should hire and all that. And then he says, now, am I right that this thing should cost about $1,000 per edited minute? And I was like, no. I mean, it may end up that way depending on who you hire.
Yeah.
And I think that's another point too, is just because you may get a cheap price from someone, it doesn't mean that that's what video should cost too.
Right.
Because, and we've done it as individuals. We've done it early in this company. Sometimes you just charge less because you need to do the job. You need to practice. You need to get better at it.
Or something you really want to do and are willing to offer discounts.
Yeah. And so, you see a lot of the freelance community, pretty adamant about not lowballing your offer because that hurts everyone else.
Fuck that. Everybody does it.
Everybody does it, and everybody's got to pay rent, and everybody's got to eat, and everybody's, got to do all those things. So take whatever you can get to get better at your craft, to pay your rent, whatever the reasoning is. But just because as a client you pay a certain amount to someone doesn't mean that that's what it should cost either. And this is more a caveat to video is too expensive. I think maybe it needs to be under the video can be expensive. And there are reasons when it certainly should be expensive, and that's fine. But if you are getting a low amount, we've got 2 clients who immediately, or who the year prior to hiring us, hired less than producers to create videos for the events that they were hosting. And in both scenarios, we got brought in, and part of our initial strategic process was reviewing the footage that had been captured from prior events. And in both instances, the footage was completely unusable.
Right.
It's because they took the low offer.
Or we wouldn't use it.
We wouldn't use it.
I wouldn't.
I mean, certainly
I wouldn't put our
in one
name
of
on
the
it, but I wouldn't
cases.
put my client's name on it.
Right. And so, it's unfortunate that you then get somebody to come in for a low amount and you get them to be there at that, event, whatever it is. They capture something and then you look at it and you're like, I can't do anything with this. So,
$1,000 per edited minute of event video is very expensive.
Yes. Well,
depending on what's delivered.
Yeah, but that's what I mean by edited minute is like, what's the final deliverable?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, if it's
Sessions.
a dozen sessions and 3 keynotes and stuff like that, that could be very expensive. I think the point we're trying to make about $1,000 per running minute is just remove that from your mind. And anytime anybody mentions it, just be like, no, that's not how it works. And when they say why, you don't even have to tell them why. It's like, that is just an old pre-internet version of what production companies would charge for corporate videos when a company would do one a year or something like that. And so it's hugely outdated.
Well, yeah, the fact, like, even the word there, video costs $1,000 per running minute, that may or may not be the cost, but forget cost. What is it? What is the value of this video to your company?
Right.
And how much are you willing to invest in?
Well, and before we go there, also, I think it's important to just, the reality check that I usually offer to $1,000 per minute is, do you think a 30-second commercial costs $500 to produce?
Yeah.
Because a 30-second commercial can be, especially if it's a national ad, can be the most money you put out for any video to produce any video content, and then add the ad buy into it. So, but even if you just want to look at production costs, you should be spending more than $1,000 per minute on any kind of TV advertising, and that's something that everybody can recognize. There's a part of their brain that's like, I think this should cost $1,000 per minute. I want a 2 to 3 minute video, so this should cost $2,000 to $3,000.
Right.
And then when you just ask them how much they think a 30-second commercial costs, their answer will not be $500.
Yeah.
And so it's the easiest real-world thing to just break people out of that cycle of thinking $1,000 per running minute. But you're absolutely right. Video as an expense is contrary to the manifesto. The manifesto says to see video as an investment. And an investment requires a return. So
seeks a return,
yes. When you're making an investment, you want to kind of track what kind of potential return and then actual return you might make something, which to me leads into our third myth, which is that,
tied together,
which is that video ROI can't really be tracked.
Right.
And that is completely false. I think this comes from probably I think we could develop, and maybe there's a blog post or a podcast article in here, I think we could develop almost a timeline of video for business, because one of the pivot points is kind of the post-YouTube DSLR revolution, democratization of video, right? And so I think there was this time where all of a sudden YouTube was a thing, and people were watching videos on YouTube all of a sudden without having to be watching on their TV. And right before businesses really started to adopt creating video content. But I think this is where, because of the analytics that YouTube gave you and gives you, and even some of the other, early days of Vimeo, for example, as a secondary hosting platform, the analytics they gave you didn't give you the opportunity to track anything that would necessarily be kind of what we call a value metric.
Right.
It's showing how many plays it gets, how many views it gets, or what percentage of people who end up on this landing page end up playing this video.
And the only way that YouTube allows you to monetize that content is by views, essentially. And so if you get millions of views, you can monetize that as the creator. And sure, there becomes your return on investment. But that was the only way to actually track a return on investment, is if it was a viral video. Yeah. Starting to melt together.
Well, I don't think viral. Oh yeah, I guess viral is 3.5. We'll get to viral. So I think there are a lot of people who probably tried video early on, even early adopters for video. And because they were willing to take that risk and put money into it, put energy into it, put resources into it, then they just didn't know how to say whether they got any return on
The
that.
technology did not exist.
And that's that's when people started seeing video as an expense, because there was no way to really track a return on it, which means there was no way to think of it as an investment. And for a lot of people, I think that's stuck.
That got laid as a foundation for video for business.
Yes. Yeah. And now the industry, the technology has evolved where pretty much anything you want to track on video is trackable.
Yep.
Down to individual viewer behaviors.
Yep.
How many videos how many of what videos one person has watched.
When
Vidyard's got their Salesforce connection.
Yeah, which is phenomenal for reporting.
Which you can actually see which deals closed that had video viewed by any of the contacts in Salesforce associated with that deal.
Yep.
And so it will actually calculate what kind of revenue is generated that video played a part in helping close. Either generating them as an MQL or turning them from an MQL into an SQL, or of course, through the sales process then. And that's one dashboard report that you can look at to say, per deal or per video, how much revenue is this contributing to for us?
Yep.
That is the easiest way to say, look, from fiscal year 2019, we spent $600,000 on video content. And my Salesforce report is showing me that in fiscal year 2019, we were able to generate $13 million of revenue that was influenced by that $600,000 of. So that's definitely showing. Now, again, it's not necessarily, just again from a previous episode, it's not necessarily saying that video is solely responsible for that.
Right.
But video is a part of the equation. And if you want to add some kind of, marketing is responsible for, 40% of this deal and sales is responsible for 60%, great. The marketing department can claim 40% of that revenue. And so, however each company wants to do that. But you actually are able to put real numbers to the money that you're actually investing in creating this content.
I was in the office of another video agency just yesterday morning, and they were griping.
How dare you?
I was at a plumber.
Yes, in the shower with a plumber.
And they were complaining about how it's impossible, like they just stay away from all of that entirely because there is no way to track it. And these are smart,
they're just going to create quality
people.
Content. They're going to do what their clients ask.
Yep.
They're going to make it as well as they can, and they do very good work.
Very good work.
And then they're going to hand it off and say, that's your thing.
Because in their heads, that attribution does not exist.
Right.
And I was just surprised that I guess other agencies aren't as well versed or even have dug into that enough.
Yeah.
But it does exist. I think that's the point to take away from this is you can definitely track ROI.
Yes. Okay, before we jump, I think it's time for our sponsor ad.
Okay.
Before we jump into that, I just want to do a quick recap. So the first myth that we busted was that shorter is always better. We talked about how your purpose and your intent and your audience changes as you kind of go through that customer cycle. We talked about video being expensive or too expensive. It certainly can be expensive, but it doesn't have to be. We hopefully debunked this whole video worth $1,000 a minute or cost $1,000 a minute. We've completely debunked, certainly with the 30-second commercial example. Cost more than $500 to make a commercial. And then, of course, that led into thinking about video as an investment as opposed to an expense, and then kind of busting that myth of not being able to track the ROI of video. So, given that that's what we've talked about before, I think now is a good time for our sponsor ad from, what was it? Off Color Lighting
Off Color
Company?
Lighting, that's right.
All right, Off Color Lighting. Let's see what they got.
At Off Color Lighting, we have it all. From lighting fixtures to dirty pictures, bulbs, bosoms, and bums. Need to get it on in the kitchen? We sell all kinds of switches, but we'll also scratch your itches with flicks of down and dirty bitches. Or maybe you would rather just rub one out. We sell touch lamps for every occasion. Hey, Ben, how many porn stars does it take to screw in a light bulb?
I don't know. How many?
Only 2, but they'd have to be pretty tiny. Come on over to offcolorlighting.com. We'll turn you on.
That's pretty good. Is that one we wrote, or is that copy that was provided to us?
That was provided to us.
Oh yeah, no, that's good.
They've got some brilliant copywriters over there.
That's
and
good.
a great business model.
Yeah. So, sex lights. Is that what I'm getting from that?
I haven't been there, to be honest.
Okay.
There's a big package over over there that they've sent. I've been afraid to open it.
Over in the dark corner.
I read the copy first. Yeah.
It's actually in the background of your shot over here, so it's on the floor. That's why you can't see it in that shot.
But something's been buzzing in there for a while.
And it's very discreet packaging too.
Very discreet.
Which is important.
Yes.
I think when it comes to anything risque like that, people are.
Yeah.
So what are we thinking here? Is it the spectrum of light that it uses kind of works like pheromones, or are they?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's just
Is it like a leg lamp from the Christmas Story where it's just kind of sexy, or?
Yeah, I imagine this again. They have an online presence, but I think there's an actual
brick and mortar store.
Brick and mortar.
Okay.
Yeah. And I see it in one half is a bunch of lighting stuff, on the other half is a bunch of sex toys and pornography, and then somehow in the middle it kind of blends together where you might see that leg lamp from Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Light up toys.
So it's kind of a one-stop shop for all of your lighting and marital aid needs.
Oh, it's only for married people.
Right. No, that's what they used to be called. And now sex toys are at CES. So.
Oh.
Do you think Off Color Lighting had a booth at CES? Sounds like the kind of place they would.
Oh,
go.
you said CES. I thought you said CVS.
As seen on TV on one of those scrambled channels. Okay. Well, welcome to our new sponsor, Off Color Lighting.
Yeah, check them out. Let me know what you guys think.
Is there a promo code we can offer or anything?
I can look for one here. Yes, lights on or off. If you use that, you'll get a 69% discount. That is a huge discount.
That's a big discount.
Wow.
That's a loss leader. There's probably some bait and switch going on there, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. So upper right-hand corner, click on the microphone, put in
they
lights
are master
on or
bait and
off.
switchers.
They are master bait and switchers. Click on the mic in the upper corner, put in lights on or off, and you get a 69% discount on your first purchase.
Yeah.
That's just fantastic. Well, back to the show. Myth 3.5.
Right. We got there a little bit, so I'll just read it off here. View counts are all that count, or AKA...
It says here view counts are all that count.
Yeah, there's a red squiggly, so I just kind of...
You think that's supposed to be a different word? View counts are all that count. That makes more sense.
This copywriter's no good.
No.
AKA, if it doesn't go viral, it didn't work. I think this attaches to the last couple. It could have been like 2 A, B, and C here because they play together so much.
Tell me about virality. What makes a video go viral? Exactly. Good answer. I think this is where I don't want to underestimate our audience but I think people know that you can't make a viral video.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are past that.
Yeah.
And I think even when they say we want a viral video,
what they mean is
we want a wildly popular shareable video.
Yes.
So
something
it may
entertaining,
include humor
something that's
or some
viral is something that happens to a video that's been released. That's not something you do to
It's not a format of video or style of video making.
So, we started talking about monetizing view counts on YouTube. I think...
Which was really the only way to monetize a video.
Right. Now you've got all kinds of advertising.
Vimeo had like a tip jar, which was the other way for artists to monetize a video.
Yeah. So I think this goes back to also the metrics that you can track now too. When we were talking about calculating ROI, is that number of views tells me nothing about how much of an impact this video has had on our prospects or customers.
Right.
If I can identify which of them are clicking through to a form and putting in their email address, or clicking on the custom call to action and going to the landing page I want them to go to, or blah, 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 right? Taking that specific action that we want them to take. I can do an awful lot more with that information than I can do about, seeing 100,000 views on a video. 100,000 views to me is potentially less valuable than 60 views.
Right.
If you're creating a video for, if you're doing ABM, if you're doing any kind of account-based marketing, and you know that you've got, as a rep, maybe you've got 60 possible clients on your ABM list.
Yeah.
If you get 60 views because you've targeted it to your list of 60
wildly
people,
successful.
that is 100% success rate. And that's more valuable to you than 100,000 views of the wrong kind of people.
But what even would be more important is conversion. What did you want them to do next, and did they do it?
Yeah.
So even 60 views doesn't matter.
Right.
It's did they take action?
Right.
And all of those things, again, can be measured in video. Conversions, because you can put forms in video players. You can put calls to action in video players.
You can connect your video platform with HubSpot or whatever your CRM is. So even if you don't put it in the video, if you put it on the landing page, you can know who filled out that form that isn't even within the video player. Okay, and number 4 is an interesting one because I think there's 2 sides to this one. We'll start with we can use Ned in HR. We don't need to hire an actor.
Yeah, let's start start there,
yeah,
and then
let's use our non-actor employees for this content.
So
just don't.
I mean,
well, until
it's usually companies who are inexperienced with video see no problem in saving some money. We're not going to hire an actor. We've got 42 employees here. We can make this happen. Someone's got to be smart enough to learn this script or whatever it is.
Right.
Well, no. Your salespeople need to be selling. You're in growth mode, so you're probably understaffed at the moment. Certainly not anybody in HR.
But,
they don't have a soul.
So-and-so in marketing was a theater major.
Right. Good point.
Or, sings in a church choir.
So what do we usually do when this happens?
Go to our casting agent and send them options anyway.
Yeah, we'll put Jerry from HR
in an audition
with all the other actors.
Yes.
And then ask the client which one makes sense. And do you want to waste the other 10 grand you've put into this video by putting Jerry in here and saving $1,000? Or do you want to spend another $1,000 and make use of the 10
Exactly.
grand?
I think it comes from an imperfect understanding of what costs go into producing a video too.
Sure.
I think this comes from, again, just overall, I think that misconception comes from Hollywood, right? Adam Sandler gets $20 million to be in a movie. And so they think all actors are, worth $1 million for a 90-minute movie or whatever. And we're really talking about, in a lot of scenarios, we're talking about $500, $1,000, $1,500.
Yeah.
We're not hiring someone who gets paid $20 million a feature film.
This is somebody from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Right. Who has it, but the reason it's important is because they have experience being on set. They have experience being directed. They know that when they're asked to come up and hit their mark so that the lights can be set and the camera can be,
set focus
and all those kinds of things, they know that they're supposed to stand there and not move and not say anything until they're asked.
And still act natural.
Yes. And you put in Ned from HR and all of a sudden he's asked to step to his mark, and then he steps to his mark, and then he's, can you look into the lens, please, so you can get focus on the eyes or whatever. And then he thinks that he can, just start looking around and talking to whatever, even if he stands there, then he'll just walk away. I'm not done. Professional actors know how to be on set, how to deal with those things that non-actors don't. So even before you get to the performance, then once you're actually directing someone, professional actors know how to take direction. They're aware of what their delivery was. Oftentimes, they'll stop themselves, or at the end of a take, they'll say, I didn't like that, let's try it again, before the director even does. A non-actor employee is going to think, ooh, I got through without fumbling anything. That was perfect. And then they're asked to
do exactly the
same thing, except let's,
when you say this, put
change your
arm.
inflection to up at the end of the third sentence. Do what now?
Yeah.
We've, in fact, had clients who have like tried to document the onset process so that they could send it back to their office to say, this is why we need to hire people, because it's take after take after take. I mean, it is exhausting work. And if you're putting someone in there who isn't prepared for that, it's going to cost you, at the very least, an additional shoot day, probably, to get that person to get through. In fact, I would double or triple the time I would plan to shoot for something if I'm going to use a non-professional actor. Because if your production company, or a lot of cost,
editing costs and production costs,
if your production company, is going to come in for a one-day shoot and they say, look, if we hire someone that we're used to working with, or someone from this talent agent that we work with, a professional, we can do this in one day. And you say, well, we're going to save some money by using Ned from HR. They can save that money, but I guarantee you the production company's going to have to take 2 days to do it. And that means that you've got to pay them twice as much as you were paying them to shoot. And so that money that you thought you were saving, it's just, and you're just not going to get a performance.
Right.
And so it's just not worth it. And again, I think it's just an imperfect understanding of the costs. In terms of the whole thing, having a professional actor is so much worth the additional cost over having an employee.
And the crew's going to just be happier too.
Yeah.
To deal with it.
So what's the flip side of that coin?
Flip side of that is a lot of people will run if they're asked to be on camera by saying, "Oh, I don't look good on camera. I don't whatever."
Yeah.
So how can we possibly bring these both up at the same time? Where are the opportunities?
I think the differentiator is there's certainly personalized video.
Yeah. Which is you in a booth or at your desk.
Which is you as a salesperson, one-on-one, recording on a webcam or a DSLR or something like that, and then sending it to like one person or something like that. And in that scenario, practice makes better. So don't let that stop you, because the value of being able to communicate with someone in the sales process through video far outweighs how uncomfortable you may feel.
I mean, the first time you made your first sales call, you were pretty fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, but you got through it through practice.
Well, and we had a project manager, Michelle. We wanted her to use Go Video in all of the weekly update emails, and so that our clients could just watch her say, here's where we are, here's what we need, whatever.
100% engagement from every client every week.
And she was terrified of being on camera. She was, it was hard to watch the first couple, but she never liked it, but she got a lot better at it, and she got more comfortable with it. So she still had that like, oh, I hate this, which is like, this is part of my job, and I've done it now, and I know that it's nothing bad is going to happen. And it totally worked. So I think they work together, because when it's something that you're sending out to a larger audience that's representative of your company, you need to have a professional's touch. But when it's something that is to a smaller audience, be it a one-to-one kind of thing or a further down, it's more important to be able to make that one-to-one connection with the prospect or customer that you're speaking with than it is because that's one person who has probably already talked to you.
Right.
And is now the value of putting a face and nonverbal expression to that name so much outweighs the potential downside, because it's still something that's just going to go to like, your 15 clients or whatever. So it's going to be seen by 15 people who already have a relationship with you, and they're probably going to be okay with it. And so I think that's where that dividing line is.
And if you make a mistake, you're a human, and the sales is a very human process. That makes sense. But so just, don't be afraid to be yourself. Be natural.
Yeah.
Another way to look at this, I see two actually. One,
you do look good on camera. And two,
one being in your business, you more than likely have subject matter experts that cannot be replaced. They need to be able to communicate their authority, their expertise their trustworthiness, all that stuff through video in the future. Video is going to be a part of your business. Why not get the smartest people in your company to share their expertise on camera? You can't replace that.
Yeah.
The other way
But I think you need to be careful about how you position that content. I would not do like my top of funnel initial explainer video featuring my SMEs.
This might be at the bottom of a product page or something.
Or a pre-awareness kind of thought leadership channel.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, that's kind of casual or whatever. Yeah. Going back to the ubiquity of video and it being ephemeral, you're going to have to just keep producing content. The marketing department can't hire actors every day for content.
Right.
You're going to need to get used to, and every department is going to need to play a role in this. It's not just marketing, or at some point, that's my prediction. So you're going to have to get used to being on camera. I think the workforce that's coming, younger millennials and Gen Z, they are going to be very used to video, and that is the way it's going to be. Everything will be video at that point.
Yeah.
So they're comfortable with it. If you would like to either grow your personal brand, if you want to book more speaking engagements, if you want to whatever, start using video and practice it and get used to it, because it's going to happen. It's going to be the way business is done in, the next decade.
Yeah. Okay, so hire actors when you need actors, but damn it, you're good enough, doggone it, people like you, when you need to do it yourself. Basically is how that one sums up. Okay, good. All right, this last one's here basically for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go bathroom.
This is my
I've heard it
soapbox
before.
moment here. So this is kind of a twofer, and really it's just these myths, these stats that keep getting misused by anyone in the video world. And they're being used as arguments for why everyone needs to be doing video when they are either invalid because they're based on an idiom, or it's cherry picking without context what the stat means. So the first one is the famed Forrester report that everyone likes to quote that says that 1 minute of video is worth 1.8 million words. And it's fine as an anecdote. I have the report, not because I paid $400 for it, but because we know someone who knows someone who works for Forrester and got me a copy of the report. And first of all, this is from a report from 2008, and it's kind of a throwaway line where it says that, after all, it's talking about omni video as opposed to TV. And so it just says that after all, a minute of video is worth 1.8 million words. See end note 2. And then end note 2 kind of goes just far enough to basically say a second of video contains 30 individual pictures or frames. Therefore, a minute of video contains 30 times 60 equals 1,800 pictures. Multiplied by 1,000 word per picture, based on the idiom, a picture is worth 1,000 words. A minute of video is worth 1.8 million words. No. No. That is not a statistic that anybody needs to be citing, because it is something that is presented as like a statistical fact, right?
Myth busted.
Myth busted. A minute of video, you just can't just, I'm going to stop there because otherwise I'm going to get really fired up. So I'm surprised. I think everybody sees Forrester attached to it. And so they think that this is just a legitimate, everybody just needs to stop using that, because they're trying to make the argument that if you're writing blog posts, you're maybe writing 2,000 words per post, and yet a minute of video, you could put out 1.8 million words.
Yeah.
To compare to 2,000 words per blog post.
Yeah.
And that is a complete fallacy in terms of a statistical comparison. And so just everybody stop using that. And honestly,
if you'd like to hear more, listen to any of the other 20 podcasts we've produced.
Yes.
Probably.
And so I'd just like to say shame on Forrester and shame on James L. McQuivy with Michelle DeLucent and Dan Wilkos. You know who you are. The other one is also just a misused statistic, unless you had anything to say on that one.
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I figured. This seems to be like the new version of that. It's from a Cisco report saying that 82% of internet traffic is video. And people are, again, they're using it to try to convince marketers to use video by saying, look, everybody's watching video. But it completely ignores the context of that report talking about the actual like exabytes of data that are transmitted across the internet.
Yep.
And so if you want to think about the size of a 90-minute 4K video on Netflix, the file size, gigabytes for something that big.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to your
blog post.
60-second, compared to a blog post, or your 60-second 1080p video. It is virtually a moot comparison. And so 82% of the internet's traffic is not marketing videos. It's all of the TV that we watch, all the stuff that we stream, all that stuff that's viewed on YouTube.
All the porn.
That used to be my argument. Like, just take Pornhub out of that and think about that probably drops the percentage down to like 73%.
Yeah.
Right? Take Netflix, Hulu out, and all of a sudden. And so for me, it's not that it's not true. It's just that it is used as a tool for you should be doing video because 82% of what's consumed on the internet is video. That is not true. 80% of the data transmitted through the internet may be video, and that's even a projection to 2022. It's 73% as of 2017 when it was done. But there are so many valid statistics, like using video in the subject line of an email can increase read rates by 400%. Video on a landing page increases click-throughs by 300%. Those are so much more valuable statistics to convince people who haven't used video to use video that we can stop using all of these other things that when you really think about it, don't make the argument you want to make. So anytime you see that a minute of video is worth 1.8 million words or 82% of the internet, is video, think about what that must mean, set that aside, and just go to the ones that are, again, it's almost like value metrics and vanity metrics. Sure, it's worth a minute of video is worth 1.8 million words, and I got 100,000 views on this. Well, I'd rather get 60 views of the right people and, have a 400% increase in my click-through rate. So that's just me on my soapbox. I couldn't do this episode of video myths without addressing those. And I will continue to rail on them and continue my crusade against those two misused statistics. Okay, so quick recap. Myth 1, busted. Shorter's always better. Totally busted.
Yep. Myth 2A, B, C.
Myth 2, video's expensive, too expensive. It can be, but it doesn't have to be expensive. Busted. You can't track the ROI of video. I mean, it was probably true for maybe 6 months or a year at one point, but it's certainly not true now. Completely busted. View counts are all that count. If it doesn't go viral, it didn't work. Busted. We don't need actors. Or I don't look good on camera. We actually found ways to bust both of those contradicting points because they have specific applications. And 1 minute of video worth 1.8 million words, or 82% of the internet is video.
I'd like to hear...
Busted for, maybe plausible, like true, like they're actual
it's
statistics,
twisted.
But they're out of context, and there's enough that we don't need to use those anymore.
So we kind of attack some of the ones that we hear the most.
Yeah.
I think there are probably a lot of myths out there, and some of them may even be true. I would love to hear from any of our listeners if there is a myth and if we could try and bust it for them or add some validity to it. Yeah. So if you're out there and listening, I encourage you to, email us or tweet.
Just find us.
Find us wherever you can, and we'll try and look for it.
You know what I would recommend? Putting it in the review on your favorite podcast channel.
On their 5-star review?
Wherever you listen to podcasts, wherever you listen to this podcast, go ahead and give us a 5-star rating and or whatever rating you want to give us.
4.5.
And go
5.
ahead and throw your myth in a review.
Sure.
That could work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, text us, whatever. I think we know half of our listeners personally anyway. Okay. Let's hear from our sponsor one more time.
Yep. Off-color lighting. You want me to read the bit? Is that what?
Yes.
Okay. At Off-Color Lighting, we have it all. From lighting fixtures to...
Hold on. That sounded like Adolf Color Lighting. I think that's something different.
Yeah, they get mad about that. At Off-Color Lighting, we have it all. From lighting fixtures to dirty pictures, bulbs, bosoms, and bums. Bums, that is.
Bums.
Like a butt.
But bums.
Bums.
That's cheekier. You can laugh.
Need to get it on in the kitchen? We sell all kinds of switches, but we'll also scratch your itches with flicks of down and dirty bitches. Or maybe you'd rather just rub one out? We sell touch lamps for every occasion. Hey Ben, how many porn stars does it take to screw in a light bulb?
I don't know how many.
Only 2, but they'd have to be pretty tiny.
It's my favorite one.
Come on over to offcolorlighting.com. We'll turn you on.
Is that supposed to be read as come on over?
There's a big space there.
Okay. All right.
I just wasn't sure what was next, and then I kept going, and then I saw that it was over to.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah.
Little racy.
Yeah. Yeah. But, they've done a lot of research on who our audience is. So, okay. Well, join us next time on the Video Reformation Podcast, where we discuss insert next episode topic here. That sounds like fun. I'm really looking forward to talking about that. Yeah.
And welcoming a new sponsor as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, hopefully this one sticks with us.
Stick around for a while. Yeah.
We'll see. Okay. So, signing off, this has Ben.
This is Justin. Thank you very much for listening.
We will talk to you soon. Or at you soon.
Talk at you.
Yeah. We will talk. You will listen.
So you can talk to us. I don't know that we're going to hear it.
Yeah. Oh, hey. Ryan Timms.
Hey, buddy. How long has he been here?
Not long, because we just reset it because we went over an hour.
Oh.
We're having lunch with him on Friday, tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
We still on for lunch tomorrow? This is probably where we realize that it doesn't tell us when somebody leaves. So he joined, but
I guess I'll see you tomorrow.
But he's like, I gotta write an email.
Yeah.
Check my inbox.